Welcome back to Web 2.0.tv. I'm Thomas Tucker. I'm here with Glen Sheehan from T3. You are VP of the Creative Group, correct?
I am VP Group Creative Director.
VP Group Creative Director for T3. Thanks for taking the time to visit with us today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. Some really exciting things going on over at T3. I know you're ramping up for the holiday season this year. Probably getting a little hectic over there, a little bit busy.
Very, very.
Well, I'm sure a lot of your clients right now are screaming Web 2.0, social networking, interactivity, collaboration. How would you define Web 2.0 as it is in your industry right now? And kind of, how has it changed the framework over the last 12 to 18 months? What have you seen your clients start to demand?
Well, I think they're questioning where the value proposition is for relationship with their audiences. So some of the things that we're doing from a marketing standpoint really are no different. You know, a lot of the buzz metrics that we're looking for are things that we've always done in marketing. Difference being with the web and it being connected, that the value of social media now is coming into question. You hear a lot about corporations being naked and how being naked within the web will allow them to open up channels, create greater affinity. So I think one of the plays that you're seeing within Web 2.0 for almost all brands are how do you activate that affinity along a real truth or value of what that brand can bring.
Right. Definitely affinity for brands is a big concern. How do companies, what must companies do, companies like yours do these days, especially in such an ad-saturated market with so much, user-generated content? How do you push through all of that content to reach consumers?
How do I push the user-generated or just the regular
How do you push your
advertising?
message, How do you push the advertising through all of that saturation?
It comes down to the fact that you have to have something in there that is of import, interest. The value proposition has to be based on an entertainment value, an information value, or utility. And so one of the things that we talk a lot about now is trying to look about how we can bring brand utility to our clients through the web and extend their brand propositions. A lot of web-enabled apps, and when you look at a lot of Web 2.0-ish like platforms such as Facebook right now within small business plays, we're looking at how do we start to activate that, use community on another level to help get the message through and help show that a company like Dell, who we work with, really is trying to aid their business partners in doing better business, and their success is our success.
Right. What have you worked with Dell with like over the last 6 months or so?
Probably the most Web 2.0-ish is we did a launch of a new campaign where we asked Dell small business customers to tell us where their passions lie about their business to help launch a platform around small business, tell them what they loved about small business, and then we used user-generated ads that came in through the web and pushed them up dynamically through digital outdoor boards in Times Square. And did that over 2 days. So that worked on a very interesting level. Also activated a lot of the small companies. Were so happy to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
That the network effect was that a lot of those companies did their own PR releases, talking about how they were being advertised in Times Square and how Dell helped them. So if you want to look at the network effect there and the 2.0 aspect of it, a promotional platform, user-generated content built around a strategy that supported both the small businesses and what Dell was trying to say to them.
Right. So, especially in that kind of aspect, how would you say that Web 2.0 powered online ad campaigns differ, or how do they compare to traditional media ad campaigns? Are they part of the same ball of wax, or is it a totally different approach?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'm not sure I can give you a clean answer because
I don't think anybody can.
Because people are still trying to figure out what the ground rules are and the rails are. One of the things that with Web 2.0 and network-based or social media-based campaigns, you have to be careful with how much you're manipulating it and how much you're actually allowing that group to have an expressive quality and how much it's built on a platform of what they believe in and not what the company believes in. So there have been concepts that have been out there over the last 7 years or so. Brand hijack is a good example that talks about how a community will take an aspect of a particular product. There's something about it they love,
Right.
One of the arts for us in advertising and marketing is now to keep our ears to the rail, see what those trends and truths are and insights are into our targets, and then help to build platforms for them to continue that expression or amplify it. We talk a lot at T3 about amplification of brands, and that becomes one of the games right now. The other thing that we like to talk about is the fact that one of our core jobs is to put the tools, assets, ideas, and experiences in their hands to help the audience become part of the media. So we talk about it as sort of the concept of the messenger is now the medium. So if we do with in a considerate way, and we give them things that they really believe in and the tools to spread the word, they'll do it for us. If there's no basis to it, and I think we've all seen it blow up in your face, you're not going to get any traction. So there's two things that'll happen. It's a tree that falls in the forest, nobody's there. You know, you see a lot of viral that doesn't go anywhere, et cetera. But the other side is if you try and force it and it's something that just isn't believable, you'll get cold on it immediately.
What happens in a situation where a viral campaign or a social network generated campaign is counterproductive or is counter to a company's goals? For instance, one of the most recent examples of this is the iPhone, which is an incredible device, released with very controlled, applications, very controlled environment, which of course is being fought back by many of the users and early adopters of the iPhone.
Sure.
Kind of the mentality from the geek network is, I bought a $600 device, I should do with it, what I want. But there seems to be an adversarial, relationship there. But they want to control that. They want to satisfy the people that ascribe to their brand and that belong to that group and that mentality. But are we going to see a lot more of this, kind of a butting heads of these kinds of social networks that are contrary to a company's goals, or do they let the reins loose? What do you do at that point?
I think you're always going to see a certain amount of that. If you do something that creates dissatisfaction, you're going to hear about it. I think that the challenge then is how you answer and react to it. I think one of the examples recently, good or bad, would be what happened with JetBlue recently.
Right.
And the issues that they had. A huge amount of bad press and blogging, and they try to deflect it by truth. And I think that's a good signpost for what you're going to need to do going forward. You look at something like the iPhone, there's a business model tied, but there is something within that points to something else that's going on, is the fact that there's a whole area of social technology where people are taking a lot of applications and platforms and adapting them and using them in ways that a lot of people never originally intended. So one of the examples, if you look at how Google was willing to open up their API very early on Maps.
Great example.
It blew open a lot of communities and opportunities. We're just starting to see the edges of where people take Facebook now that they can bring creativity to it.
Now that it's open for widgets and all kinds of other offerings.
Exactly.
So people are going to make uses of these technologies, in whatever way they can, even if it's not, conducive to the people that originally developed the technology.
Right. But that's the other side from a business model, is what is it that you're going to help support going forward to help build that. From a communication standpoint, and where we look at new media, it's trying to understand what some of those trends are. Much like years ago, we try and find an artist that's trying to break. We're trying to understand some of the trends about how people are adapting platforms and technologies for social expression. Our job then is to see if there's a way we can take it around the corner and use it in a new way or a fresh way, or bring it to the forefront through a more popular media.
Absolutely. Well, that's Glen from T3. Thank you so much, Glen.
Right.
I appreciate you talking with us. Some fluidic things happening in Web 2.0 technology. Take it from T3. They know what they're talking about. We'll be right back with Web 2.0.tv.